is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome to the Football Night in America pod, and it is week 9, and we're ready to recap everything for you that we saw on Sunday. Maria Taylor, Matthew Berry, Mike Florio, Devin McCourty, and Jason Garrett. Oh, we're all happy. Thumbs up right now as we speak.
We need an intro.
Thumbs
down watching that game.
The Vikings game is right over there. But let's talk about the games that have wrapped up and what we saw from the Detroit Lions on the road. Terrible weather, taking on the Packers. We wanted to see how they played outside, and it was great. 6 straight wins for the Lions. Yeah. What impressed you most about the win?
You know what? I know everyone's going to talk about the how they played outside. They went on the road, division win in the rain. I want to talk about this defense, right? Everyone, when Aiden Hutchinson went down, there was a lot of questions. How are the Lions going to respond? And they responded great. Like, they held Jordan Love and that offense to, it was the final score is closer than that game actually was. Detroit dominated it from start to finish as well. And the Lions are now 4th for the season in red zone defense. Like, you can get there close, but you can't score on them. And so I think for all the talk about how great Goff has played and it's deserved and how balanced their offense is, their defense, especially after losing Aiden Hutchinson, has really stepped up. And Mike, I know you talk about there might be help on the way. But I was just impressed with going into Lambeau and shutting down Jordan Love and the Packers offense.
Yeah, I don't know that they need help. They've been looking and scouring, and they potentially, the belief was and the expectation is they'll trade for Zadarius Smith to come in and just help fill that void, but they haven't missed a beat, and they really have been incredible. I want to flip it around, though, to the Packers side. We've seen it twice now where Jordan Love is injured and he plays, and
doesn't look
who's the grown-up in the room that – because it's not like he's going to lose his job to Malik Willis. Yeah. They paid him $55 million. Somebody's got to say – bye week was coming up after this. You got 3 weeks to heal that groin because he just, again, like he did week 4 against Minnesota, it seemed like he was back and he shouldn't have been.
And he even had a play in a game where he was throwing, and it looks like as he threw the ball, he grimaced a little where there was no contact or anything, where you just know he's not 100%. I think when you have a backup quarterback like Malik Willis who has started for you and you've won games, sometimes you got to say, hey, Jordan, we understand you're a competitor, but this guy gives us the best chance this week. But, again, I agree with you, Barry. I think when you look at this Detroit Lions defense, even today, Brian Branch gets ejected from the game. And I'm sitting there and we're watching. I'm like, that's a big issue. This guy does a lot for this defense. They're already without they didn't miss a beat. Kirby Joseph gets an interception for a touchdown. They find ways to have impactful plays, even if they don't get every stop in a game. You watch the Tennessee game from last week. Tennessee was able to drive down, make some plays. But the turnovers and special teams, they just continue to do different things as a team that make them really tough to beat.
Yeah, no doubt. They've built the team the right way. They built it with the right kind of guys. They have the right head coach. And I know for a fact, I played with Dan for 3 years. He's a good buddy of mine. I know for a fact he's trying to instill a mindset and a mentality in that team. And he's done that. Let's reflect back to 2.5 years ago when they've started on their run. They started 1-7, were great the last half of that season. They were really a good football team last year. I think arguably the best team in the NFL this year. It starts with the kind of guys they have and how they think. So going on the road, not an issue. Dealing with Aiden Hutchinson, I texted Dan after the game. He said, I feel so bad for Hutch. He's an amazing guy, but hey, on to the next. Move forward, no excuses. So that's the mentality he's put in. So when Branch leaves today, next guy gets out there, no excuses. We got to go get the job done. And that goes with the kind of guys they have and the mentality that he's preaching each and every day. And we see it on display on Sunday afternoons.
And I will say that I think they answered a lot of questions today because that was always the narrative. And they brought it up in the press conference, and, Coach, you brought it up on during halftime as well. But, the Lions are a dome team. Jared Goff plays well indoors. But they went on the road to Lambeau, and it was raining the entire day. The field was soggy. It was bad conditions, and they dominated. And so I think for teams that are like, well, if we can just get home field in the NFC, they're going to have to come to us, and they'll fall apart because there won't be in a dome. And, no, sir. Yeah. That was really impressive. Jared Goff is playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now.
The way it's going, the road to New Orleans is going to go through Detroit.
For sure.
They'll be indoors as long as they win, and then if they get to the Super Bowl, they'll be indoors again.
But let's go back to dome teams. Let's go back to 30 years ago. Detroit, the last time they made the playoffs, run and shoot. That's how they played. Barry Sanders, arguably one of the greatest runners ever to play. They were a soft, finesse team. This is not
team is
that.
not that.
Look at the offensive linemen. Look at the resources they put into the offensive line. Look at the 2 runners. It starts there. And as great as Goff has been, look at his numbers. He hasn't thrown the ball. It's 20 times, 22 times, 25 times. They're a run, physical team first, and everything comes off of that. Their defense is playing well because they control the kind of game they want to play offensively because of their physicality.
Does the great fine jar, does that apply to this as well? Because I've already got 2 for you, I think.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, now you're like a teacher now?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just curious.
He's a hall monitor.
Is it open season?
Are you telling me Barry Sanders isn't great?
No. Jared Goff.
We'll do a review. We're going to do a review.
Whatever you think.
I'm just playing.
Golf hasn't been great the last 5 weeks. They're just record-breaking. I think great is short.
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
We're in mid-season form, apparently, halfway through.
He's played great.
Yeah.
I'll throw one out there, too.
We're
Jared
doubling
Goff
down.
has absolutely played.
Les Filling plays great.
There you go. More touchdowns than incompletions for Jared Goff over the last 6 games.
Unbelievable stat.
That's pretty great. Let's go to the AFC East and what we saw. Miami on the road going up to Buffalo and Orchard Park. And it ended up being like run and shoot there, a shootout towards the end. Scores on 7 consecutive drives. It was a fun one to watch, and ultimately the Bills get the win.
Well, and the Dolphins season was on the line here. I mean, the Bills are going to have the kind of epic collapse that will get everybody fired if they blow the division now. They're sitting at 7-2. Everyone else in the division has 2 wins except for the Jets, who have 3. So that's the only team that's even remotely a threat at this point. The Bills should run away with this division, and today was, I think, the Dolphins mustering their absolute best attempt to get a win, and it almost was enough.
And the Bills will run away with this division. This team continues to get better all behind Josh Allen. And the criticism, whatever you want to say in years past, he's always been phenomenal. I've had to play against this guy. It's not fun. And Miami cannot seem to find a way to beat the Buffalo Bills. Last year, Miami seemed like they were rolling. They were going to win this division. Josh Allen, the Bills go down to Miami, beat Miami. This year, they go down to Miami, beat Miami. Now they come to Buffalo. So I just think when you watch this team, and we talked about what Amari Cooper brings to the team, and it opens up everybody else. He's out today. And they don't care. They make the plays. The defense, I think they understand who they are. They're going to play conservative. They're not going to give up the big play. And they're going to say time after time, if we give our guy enough shots or the last shot, he's going to make the plays. And I thought it was really cool to see this team at the end. Tyler Bass struggles really all day. Josh Allen emotional after the game, talking about Bass. Then Bass receives the game ball. He's emotional. Right. So whatever's going on, this team is all in behind Allen, behind Bass. Just this team is generating a lot of positivity going forward in this season.
It feels a lot like Detroit to me. I think Buffalo has been one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. Ever since Tom Brady left the AFC East, they've dominated, right? They've won every year, and nobody gives them any credit. Nobody gives the head coach credit. Nobody gives the quarterback credit, and he's been phenomenal. And if you think about how they play, it's the same kind of thing. They must have had 10 different guys catch passes today. Coop is out. Hey, no worries. We'll just go down the field and do what we do. So Josh is making a ton of plays like he always does. He's minimizing the bad plays. The defense has overcome injuries, and they're doing the same kind of stuff that Detroit's doing on defense. So what's hard for Miami is the last 2 weeks since Tua has been back, they've played well. But they've squandered both games to Arizona and then today, and now they're really out of the race.
Let me add one thing real quick about Tyler Bass, because I talked to him afterward, and he had the missed extra points. He's had a rough year. People are thinking, they're going to bring in kickers this week for a tryout. He told me, and he cited his late kicking coach, Doc Spurgeon. He told me, you're only as good as your next kick. And he put everything behind him, and he goes out there and he nails a career-long 61-yarder under those circumstances where he's already kind of the GOAT. And he goes out and he gets it done.
Yeah, you know what, Coach? You brought up a point there that I just wanted to expand upon a little bit. For so long with the Bills, it was just always like, okay, Josh, put on your Superman cape and go win it for us. Too much was their offense. It was all built around, like, Josh, go out and make these crazy superhuman plays. And the issue was that he can do that. And so they got used to that. But, bringing in Joe Brady as the offense coordinator last year, now he's the full-time guy. To your point, they had 6 different guys have at least 20 yards receiving today. They had 3 different guys with at least 20 yards rushing. They got touchdowns from Mac Hollins, Ray Davis, and Quentin Morris today. Like, no Amari Cooper here as well. They are all contributing, and obviously Josh is always going to be at the center of that. But it has become much more of a full team, and it's just Josh is the leader of it, not, hey, Josh, you need to do everything for us, because they're all contributing. It's really impressive.
And you said it. If you mark their progress and their production from the time that Joe Brady took over as the play caller, this is what it's been like. The last half of last year and the first part of this year, it's a great combination. There it is. Great again.
There you go. We'll review that one as well. But I love the names that you brought up. I remember being in screening. I was like, okay, so the backup tight end caught a touchdown, and then I'm like, and then Ray Davis, and I'm like looking up the fourth rounder, Ray Davis, trying to figure out his stats.
Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Quinn Morris is the third guy. Like their third tight end is, and their rookie running back, James Cook, didn't have a lot. Matt Collins is probably their fourth or fifth wide receiver. Like, they're finding different guys to step up and contribute.
And I think it speaks to Josh Allen. He's evolving. He's able to do so much more in this offense. And everyone always talks about, do you have the number one wide receiver? Do you have – like, if you look at the teams that win, Kansas City, they don't always have this guy that we line up backside or this stud wide receiver. The quarterback ends up becoming a really good player at understanding, hey, this is what this guy does well. This is what he does. And we're going to put them all in different spots to the best of their ability, and we're going to have an effective offense. And I've enjoyed watching Allen this year understand that and get the ball to Shakir when he has option routes and can go both ways. Like, it's been fun to watch this offense.
Buffalo right now, a 4-game lead in the AFC East. It seems insurmountable for the rest of the division, and that they're going to walk away with this one. All right, let's talk about Baltimore taking on Denver. I think the Ravens have just decided what we're going to do is outscore everyone. And that's what they've been able to do. The three-headed monster, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson. It's been proven really hard to stop, but it was unleashed against Denver.
Yeah, don't tell Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Terrell Suggs. Like, don't let them know what's going on right now.
It's happening.
Because Baltimore traditionally has been built on these unbelievable defenses that'll come out, knock you in the mouth, knock you out all the time. Right now, when they got Deontay Johnson, I remember my brother texted me, like, did you see? I was like, yeah, is he going to play corner? Like, this team's struggling against the pass. They can't defend anybody, but they can score with the best of them. And it's not a problem until it's a problem. And I think that's the thing they're going to live off of. They battled with the Bengals earlier this year. It was kind of a shootout. They'll play them again Thursday night. And I think maybe they add a pass rusher. They say, hey, we're not going to get another guy in here to play in the secondary that's going to change everything. Maybe they say, let's continue to try to get after the passer without blitzing a little bit. But I just think this Baltimore team has decided, hey, we know who we are. We're going to run with Henry. We're going to throw it with Lamar, figure out who's going to be the hot guy each and every week we play, and we're going to play to that and play to the offense.
Yeah, Lamar's the MVP of the NFL last year. I visited with Todd Monken during training camp, their offensive coordinator. He said, I don't feel like we really know each other that well. The guy was the MVP of the league. They were fantastic. And they were working hard on continuing to refine that offense to fit what Lamar does best. And I think they've done a masterful job of that. Obviously, it helps when 22 shows up. But when you think about how they attack on offense, Lamar as a runner, 22 as a runner, Lamar as a passer, the number of guys, they got 2 tight ends, they got Zay Flowers running around. There are so many different weapons. I think Monken's done a fantastic job putting those guys in situations where they can thrive. On the other side of it, I think they need to make a decision about what we're playing on defense, right? They've always been so aggressive, rushing the passer, pressuring, playing man, all of that. Maybe it becomes more of a bend but don't break on the back end, because as good as they are in offense, as good as they are defending the run, they're equally bad. They're the worst in the National Football League defending the pass. So make it a slow bleed. Yeah. Make them throw the ball underneath, rally and tackle them, and see if you can play great red zone defense. I think that can be a change that they can make going forward.
I'm going to try something here that is either going to work or it's not, which is basically the story of my life. You ever see the movie The Family Man with Nicolas Cage, Don Cheadle, Tia Leone? Anybody? No one here. Have you?
Yeah, I've seen
it. Okay. And here's the quick premise. It's a holiday movie.
Good job.
It's a holiday movie, and Nicolas Cage's
character, really
he's given a chance. He's given a glimpse. He's given a glimpse at what his life would have been like if he hadn't made a key decision when he was young.
Kind of a modern day It's a Wonderful Life.
Exactly. Okay. So the Ravens gave us a glimpse today of what they can be. And they give us these glimpses from time to time. But you know what happens? Eventually, it all falls apart. And it's going to, based upon what we've seen from them, some point in the playoffs is going to be one of those days where they play the way differently than the glimpse they give us today of what they can be when everything's working. I mean, they can make it all fall together. We were talking before the game about how a great team or a really good team will come into Baltimore every once in a while and just get smacked around like the Lions last year.
Yep.
So the Broncos come in with a 5-3 record and they just get smacked around. And today was a glimpse of what the Ravens can be, but they can't do it consistently enough. That's what we need to see.
Well, listen,
you need to see the family
to your point,
Yeah,
to your point, Mike, Denver had come into this game, and they'd only allowed 2 teams this entire year to score even 20 points, right? And so now here come the Ravens that put up over 40 on them. They've now scored 40 points in 3 of their last 5 games, right? They've gotten at least 30 points in each of their past 5 wins as well. And I wanted to say from a team perspective, this felt like a trap game. We've just seen this before. Like, they lost at home to the Raiders. Like, this just, like, it's hard to get up for, okay, yes, Denver's got a winning record and everything like that, but it's a rookie quarterback, West Coast team coming east for a 1 o'clock game in Baltimore. Like, and they not only got up for it, but they dominated this game, from start against a very good defense. And so I think, to your point, Coach, Todd Monken's done an unbelievable job. 2nd year in this system. They are firing on all cylinders. The concern here is, again, that secondary. Like, what happens when they have to face like Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Because they can stop the run and they can score on anybody. So that's going to be the question: is can they stop the pass? Because everything else has just been absolutely brilliant for the Ravens.
And if I was a leader in that secondary, the thing I would harp on is let's just take advantage of our turnover opportunities. Right now, they lead the league in the most dropped interceptions. Let's just see where we stand if we just catch the ones they throw to us and we give our offense 1 or 2 extra possessions, maybe the best offense in football. Maybe we don't stop everybody. They get a lot of yards. But if we can finish in the top 15 in turnovers, that can change everything. Because I've seen bad defenses, but they somehow get a big turnover once or twice a game, and the team wins by 7 or 10 points because the offense is that explosive.
Like Geno Stone last year.
Exactly.
He was a takeaway machine.
Yep.
They lose him in free agency, and they really haven't replaced him.
I just want to give a shout out here. You talked about Derrick Henry and how great he is, and he's unbelievable. But just give you an idea of just how insane Derrick Henry's season has been, his career has been. Today, he broke a tie with Barry Sanders, and he passed Marshall Faulk and Sean Alexander on the all-time rushing touchdown list. It was his 21st career game with at least 100 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He's now tied with Emmitt Smith, and the only people in the NFL history that have more, LaDainian Tomlinson and Jim Brown. Like, that's a crazy list to be on for any running back in the history of the National Football League. And so Derrick Henry, who a lot of people said, well, he's too old, he's one-dimensional, he gets hurt. I don't know why you should. A lot of
can't afford him.
A lot of NFL teams didn't want to, and it's been nothing short of amazing.
We learned a long time ago, Maria, the running back matters.
Yes. But I'm old enough to remember the offseason when everyone was saying, how much does the running back matter? Do we play the running back? But we're having a running back revival. What we're seeing Saquon Barkley do, what we're seeing Derrick Henry do.
This is what happened. Your old teammate, Tom Brady, up in New England, was so damn good that we just had interchangeable running backs. And you had really good running backs, don't get me wrong. Really good running backs. They could do so many different things.
But never like one running back.
Never one running back, and we didn't really value it. But when Tom Brady left, all of a sudden it was like, wouldn't it be nice to have a running back? The running back takes pressure off of everybody. When you break the huddle and go to the line of scrimmage and you say, we got to stop Derrick Henry, we got to stop Emmitt Smith, we got to stop Saquon Barkley, all of a sudden the quarterback's job is easier. The outside receivers get single coverage. The value of the elite running back, to me, I think there's real value for the pervasive impact he has on the football team.
Look at San Francisco.
Look at the Cowboys.
Thank you.
Christian McCaffrey out there.
And look at the Cowboys without a running back. Yeah, exactly.
So that difference, we'll see. We'll see whether or not Baltimore falls apart, okay? We're also going to watch
I'm not saying they'll fall apart.
You did. You said it. You did. You kind of said it.
Kind of hinted at it.
No consistency.
It's going to fall apart.
One time.
He's at Pro Football Talk on social media.
Oh, trust me. Last Christmas with the 49ers
I was about to say. They know where to find you.
This is child's play. Bring it. I'm used to it. I'm scarred.
Okay, last game we're going to talk through. Atlanta Falcons swag surfing all over the Cowboys.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to go first and talk about your Falcons?
No, I want to hear it first. I want to sit back and have you tell me how good the Falcons look. Go ahead.
I picked Raheem Morris for Coach of the Year, so I was feeling the Falcons and what they could do in this division. But I mean, shout out Kirk Cousins, the guy sitting to my right. He was ready to get rid of Kirk Cousins with the Minnesota Vikings. He was like, Kirk Cousins, blah blah blah. Kirk Cousins is phenomenal this year. He's been able.
Your Florio voice is epic.
Like that's what I'm just saying. Listen, Florio, you wanted to get rid of this guy. Look what he's doing. I mean, Kirk Cousins is coming, and not just throwing the ball all around, but he's embraced the Atlanta culture.
The culture.
I'm sitting next to Maria when we watch the games. Every time they cut to the crowd in Atlanta, she's like, look at that, look at that, look how much fun they're having. Look at that, look at that. And that's what Kirk, he's embracing. He's swag surfing. He's doing so many different things. He's walking into your trap and taking over your trap. You don't even know what that means.
He's in a trap. He's in a trap, Florio.
I'm going to use it.
It's a good thing.
I did come around on Kirk Cousins after this Monday night game last year against the 49ers, the best game of his career, and then he tore his Achilles tendon 6 days later. So I did. I was all in for 6 days. And then after the season, I was like, they need to keep him around. I mean, we had him at the Super Bowl, and off camera, it became clear to me that this just isn't going to work out, that they want to keep doing year to year, and he wanted a greater commitment, and the Falcons made it to him, and it's paying off. It's still weird how they drafted Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah,
They've managed to play their way through that, but he has delivered, and, you know, he's got a low floor, and we don't know how high his ceiling is. That's the question. How far can you take this?
He's still hedging the
I may get on the bandwagon depending upon how
this
game ends.
He's got a high floor and a low. We don't know where the ceiling is in Atlanta.
Okay.
Maybe it is high enough.
I got it. Okay.
All right.
I think I got it.
You're a Princeton guy.
Just be careful of narratives. I think a lot of guys, decisions get made on guys because of narratives. Like somehow Kirk Cousins was the reason that the Vikings couldn't get over the hump. Watch the tape. Watch the production with all different kinds of people around him. In an environment that was a little bit more defensive oriented when Coach Zimmer was up there, right? And he just, week in and week out, completed passes, threw touchdown passes, they scored points. And he's done it for a long, long time. Just watch his production over his career. And so, you know, credit to Atlanta to say, this guy still can play. He's the kind of guy that's going to come back from an Achilles injury. He's embraced the culture. He's played the way he's played for the last 12 years in the NFL. He's a productive NFL quarterback, making all that skill that's underachieved better and better every week.
Yeah, you know what? I 100% agree with you, Coach. And since I didn't think you were going to do it, I want to bring this up. As great as the Falcons' win was, the Cowboys are done. The Cowboys, and I don't know that they're going to be able to do this, but I think they should start tearing this down. They are 3-5. They are significant. They are a few games behind both the Eagles and the Commanders in this division. And the biggest issue with them, in addition to being one-dimensional, although Rico Dowdle had a nice game, they were able to run the ball a little bit. During this losing streak, there are 3 straight losses. They're allowing over 34 points a game. You know, the defense was supposed to be the hallmark of this team, and I get it. They have been injured. They've had, key losses. But Lions lose Aiden Hutchinson. They keep going. Like, you have to be able to withstand losses, as great as Micah Parsons is, as great as Lawrence is, like you have to be able to withstand that. You can't be giving up over 34 points a game. And look at their upcoming schedule. So they're 3-5. And now they play Philadelphia next week, then the Texans, then they're at Washington. They're home to the Giants, who they barely beat by 5 points earlier in the season. I don't think that's as much a pushover. Then they're home to Cincinnati. It's not until week 15 when they're at Carolina where there's a game you're like, okay, that's a game they're definitely winning. Like, you could see them, like, maybe they beat the Giants, okay, but, like, they're not going to be favored in the next 3 games. And the next 2 games are at home where they have played poorly this year. And so if they go to 3-7, which is certainly possible against the Eagles and the Texans, you're under this big contract with Dak Prescott. You got this big contract to CeeDee Lamb. Micah's coming up. Like, if you're Jerry Jones, I don't know what you do at this moment, because it's a tough situation for this team, because I just don't see them moving forward this season, especially, by the way, as we sit here taping this, we don't know the seriousness of the injury to Dak Prescott. We don't know the seriousness of the injury to CeeDee Lamb. I know he came back, but, maybe that would have been adrenaline. I'm sure they'll check him out.
He was in pain when he came back.
Yes, he was. Frame, so they have to see what the damage is there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, at some point it's over, and then what do? You're committed to Dak Prescott well into the future. You're committed to CeeDee Lamb. So they got a lot of big decisions to make. Okay,
here's what I know about the guys that I know in that locker room, Prescott being one of them, Zach Martin being another one. They ain't quitting, right? They're going to fight. I do think the injuries are real, and the way they've built their team It's a star-laden team. When you take Micah Parsons out of the mix, one of the elite defensive players, DeMarcus Lawrence, Deron Bland, I mean, those are cornerstone players of their team. They're all pro players. So the defense was going to be a little suspect anyway, and then you take your best players off the field, it's really hard, and I think that's had a pervasive impact on the rest of the team. Now, if you lose Dak and CD, it's really challenging. But, they're not throwing the towel, and they're going to continue to fight and battle, and who knows what happens.
And there's 7 playoff spots. That's the other thing to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. You get hot at the right time. If you're just hovering around 500, you get hot at the right time, you can steal one of those playoff spots and then see what happens.
Yeah, and I think this team, they're going to have to figure out how to handle all of the noise. Like you just said it, tear this team. That's going to be what continues to come out. And you just said when you don't have Micah Parsons, Lawrence, if Dak is out, CD's out, now this team that takes the field, this isn't the team from Mike McCarthy that you're used to talking to and knowing that, hey, I got these leaders. You look at Zach Martin, he could be going out there kind of by himself. So I think this team, you just have to withstand all of the noise from the outside. And I don't think this is a playoff team this year at all. But I do think, hey, you invested in CeeDee Lamb, you invested in Dak Prescott. When I look at that, I say, okay, let's keep going. All right, maybe this year doesn't work, but I don't think there's a problem being invested in those 2 guys and then Micah Parsons and those other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be clear here. Like, again, I don't think they made a mistake in paying Dak. I don't think they made a mistake in paying CeeDee Lamb. Like, I think that, I'm not trying to sit in here Monday morning quarterback. Like, they made the right move. Mm-hmm. Those are franchise guys, and they paid them like franchise guys. I'm just saying they're sitting here looking at a tough road. They're 3-5, banged up, and they've got a really tough schedule coming up. Is sort of my point.
No doubt about it.
It's just they're in a tough spot, especially because I think they expected Philadelphia to be good, but no one expected Washington to be 7-2 at this point in the season.
Right, except for you. Obviously.
Well, honestly, not even me. Like I'm not Florio, but I have a negative side. I'm not as anti my team as Florio is, but I did not. I'd be lying if I said I thought we'd be 7-2 in the first place.
Okay, guys, it's time for the speed round. We're halfway through the season, so we want to hand out some midterm grades. Let us start with the Bengals.
Yeah, C+. Listen, they've got only
C+.
They've got 4 wins this year. Here are their 4 wins.
Got on his paper
Panthers, Giants, Browns, Vegas. They don't have one signature win. Vegas, Browns beat somebody real.
So you graded on the curve over
He's
there.
graded on the curve. Yeah.
Carolina, Giants, Browns, Raiders. They haven't beat anyone real.
I think the grades are it is on a curve based upon what we expected.
This is the team we thought could compete for a Super Bowl.
So it's a D+, not a C+, because we expected this to be, and you're with me on this.
I'm at a D.
Yeah.
I'm at a D.
Yeah. I mean, they had high expectations, and they failed to deliver.
Yeah, they're only at a D because of Burrow, and they still have a shot in this thing, but this is not what we expected from this team.
Not at all. I gave him C- because of Burrow. He's on fire, but it's been disappointing, but they are getting better.
Oh, I thought I was too low. No. You were saying I'm too high.
Eagles, what about the Eagles?
Eagles, I gave a B+ too. They're 6-2. They're finding ways to win. I mean, Hurts and Barkley are playing great, and I thought, when Sirianni was yelling at the fans, I thought, oh boy, this is a team that. But they've quieted the outside noise, and they've found ways to gut it out. They're still letting teams like Jacksonville hang around, but they are finding ways to win each and every week.
I'm going to give them an incomplete because we're not going to know the story of this Eagles team until we get to the end of the season and see if they don't fall apart again.
We're not going to know the story of any of the teams.
No, but I'm saying because last year what happened when they were 10-1 and they fell apart, that's when we're going to find out what this team is made of. Mm-hmm. When we get to the end of the season and it feels like it's going well, are they going to fall apart again or are they going to finish it out and win in the postseason? Incomplete.
I'm going with Barry. I give him a B+. It's all the noise on the outside, but when you look at it, they're 6-2. Right. They're winning football games, and now they know how they want to play. Run with Saquon Barkley, take shots to those 2 guys, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside.
I give them a B+ as well. They, like a ton of teams, they were severely impacted by their injuries. When A.J. Brown is not in the lineup, Devontae's out, they're a different team. Those guys come back, all of a sudden, boy, we run the ball.
Undefeated with A.J. Brown.
Oh, we can make some big plays.
And A.J. Brown got banged up in this game, too, so we'll wait to see what happens there.
All right, what about the Cardinals?
I give them a B. 3 straight wins, and look at who they've lost to. They've lost to the Bills, the Lions, the Commanders, the Packers. All 4 of those are quality losses to the extent that any loss can be quality. Like, they're 5-4. They're right in the mix of this division. Their defense is playing better than people thought. Kyler and the run game are getting it done. I think they're a B. They're an incomplete team, but they're a lot pluckier than I think people gave them credit for at the beginning of the year.
If you base it on what we expected, I'm giving them an A. I'm giving them an A. I mean, you know, the kid that shows up and didn't study for the test and gets an A, they didn't have the book, and they're kicking butt, and I think it's going to continue. They're gaining confidence in Kyler Murray each and every week.
Yeah, I'll go B+. I agree with the thought process of we didn't think this team would be here. They have a shot to win the division, a real shot to win this division. So they continue to get better each week. I think they're getting to know exactly what they have in Arizona, coming off a 3-win season or whatever it was last season. So to do all of this, shout out to them. Most wins since 2021, and it's only 5. So this is new for them.
Yeah, no doubt. B+ for me, far exceeding the expectations. The defense seems to play well every week, slow teams down. I just love the grittiness of Kyler Murray. He went from being a flash player for me, and you can see kind of the calluses built up on him. I like how he's playing. I like how he's leading that team.
What about the Seahawks?
I gave them a C. You know, they've lost 5 of the last 6. They've had a bunch of defensive injuries. They just, you know, too many plays where you're just like, wait, what was that? You know, the 2 red zone picks by Geno, and I know they got to overtime in this game, but this was a tough one. They're an incomplete team. I give them a C.
Yeah, a C as well. 2 inconsistent, 3 wins, 3 losses. Win by 20, lose by 21. Today could have gone either way. They are right down the middle of the road C.
Yeah, I think we'll all be pretty similar on this. A C for me as well. And I think that the disappointing thing is the way the defense plays. Mike McDonald a year ago in Baltimore had that defense lights out, aggressive, making plays. This team this year, they don't seem like they know if they can blitz. They should be able to be aggressive with the secondary, the names that they haven't really played to that, so that's the reason they're a C.
For me, it's a C- just because they're trending down. They won the first 3, and they've been real shaky since then. You know, the Geno story is a great story, but you hear me talk about balance every week. You really don't want to be the team that leads the league in passing, right? They throw it a lot, and I think you see some of the warts show up. The red zone interceptions were bad. You just want to be more balanced. You want to take pressure off of that guy. And haven't been as good on defense as I thought they'd be. I think they're too imbalanced on offense.
Yeah, I mean, again, banged up on defense. They didn't have DK Metcalf in this game either. They didn't have Noah Fant. So, you know, but still, it's a team that feels like they should be more competitive with this division. That doesn't feel like they are.
They should be able to run the ball. They have 2 good running backs.
Right.
Correct.
Can't figure it out. Well, guys, we appreciate it. Thank you, professors. We got to get Florio out of here so he can watch the rest of his ball game because he's not paying attention to any of us anymore.
It's been going well.
I know. So maybe we should keep going. We will see you for Football Night in America on NBC and Peacock 7 Eastern. It'll be fun. Make sure you join us. We've got the Lions, we've got the Texans, and we'll get you set at 7 Eastern.
Go vote.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.